Hello everyone, I am Deepa Rani, your anchor for this session, and it is giving me immense pleasure to welcome you all at Mumbai International Film Festival for a captivating session that delves into the essence of motivating stories and the spirit of originality and ingenuity. But before we start, we extend our gratitude to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, the National Film Development Corporation, and the Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute, Kolkata. We are honored to have with us Mr. Audrius Stonys, sir, an acclaimed film director, producer, and professor at the Lithuanian Academy of Music and Theatre. Mr. Audrius Stonys, sir, has been a beacon of creativity and innovation in filmmaking, and today he will share his experiences and insights that drive original storytelling. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome Mr. Audrius Stonys, sir, on stage. Please join me in welcoming him with a warm round of applause. His work has been an inspiration to many aspiring storytellers across the globe. So, audience, with regard to the question and answer, we will take all your questions at the end of the session. So now, I would like to invite Dr. D. Ramakrishnan, sir, on stage, the National Film Development Corporation General Manager, to come and felicitate Audrius, sir. Thank you, Dr. D. Ramakrishnan, sir, for the warm gesture. I would now like to invite Mr. Audrius Stonys, sir, to enlighten us with his motivating stories on originality and ingenuity. All over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for such a warm welcome, for the introduction. I don't like to be in the role of lecturer, because this is what's special about a documentary film. You never know all the answers. You don't have all the recipes. You don't know every film you start making, you start from very beginning, and the experience does not help. It helps you to organize your work. It helps you in some little details. But in generally, if you go to the core of documentary film, you start every time as you are the debut filmmaker. So that's why I'm not going to tell you, make film this, if you're going to make this film, is going to be a successful film. These are the tricks how you can make a successful documentary film. No, there are no such rules. So the only thing that what I'm going to do through this hour is to share my own experience and something that I understood, something I experienced throughout these years, making all these films that I made in more than 30 years of my creative work. And also, it should be more like encouragement for you to look for your own rules, to your own ways to express yourself, your own visual language, and also the kind of encouragement to be brave, not to be afraid of, to look for unusual and different ways to tell the stories. Now I'm just after the deliberations in the international jury. I know the winners. I'm not going to tell you who won this festival. But again and again, I'm really surprised how different could be documentary film language, how different ways to approach the different subjects. And this is what amazed me, and I got surprised, and also inspires me a lot. The stories people are telling, they are not out of the world. They are not taken from Mars or somewhere. Those stories that the people are telling, in many cases, and 90% of these stories are very close to us. It could be neighbor, it could be village with some couple living there, and for some it could be a stranger, somebody we see passing by, and the old people, the normal people, not the documentary filmmakers, they would say, okay, what's so special about that? It's nothing. It's just the old couple. They live with their goat in somewhere in the village. What's about that? What is so interesting about that? But the documentary filmmaker is the someone who just looks beyond and tries and digs deeper and stops the time and goes into the story of this, and from the first look, totally ordinary couple, and suddenly, if you are honest enough, if you are patient enough, if you have this very sincere interest, something that you cannot, how to say, play or pretend, but if you really have this sincere interest into a life, a normal life, suddenly the space opens, and suddenly you have this immense, vast spaces where you can see the way it becomes universal. It is, again, let's say the couple, the old couple from Indian village, they are so far away from my own country. This is a totally different culture, totally different history, totally different mindset. But at the same time, I watch the film and I recognize my grandparents. I recognize myself. I'm starting to think about myself, and then this miracle happens. If I'm saying that, I'm not going to say you recipes or formulas, but one formula I could tell you. The director is making film about somebody's life. In reality, he is making, or she, they're making films about themselves. They're taking something that touches their heart, that something that is very deep in his or her mind. So in reality, this is the director takes somebody's life, making film about himself or herself, and then the audience watches the film, somebody in the audience will say, "Oh my God, but this film is about me. This is my life. This is how I feel. This is my grandfather or grandmother. I recognize myself in this distant culture and this totally different world. I recognize myself." So this is the core of the documentary cinema. I remember I was making a film. It's called my last film. It was called Bridges of Time, and I was making a film about Latvian, Lithuanian, Estonian documentary cinema of 60s and 70s. You know what I heard from so many people? You know, say this is going to be a local film. Nobody is going to watch this. You never. I suppose you never saw a single film, or most of you didn't see a single film of Mark Saucer or Andris Sot or of these masters of 60s and 70s. How can I tell? It's a different language again, different films. How I can touch the heart and soul of those people? But I was very sure, and I said, yeah, many of the commission editors told me, you have to explain. You have to put the context. You have to put everything to explain how important this was for that period. What kind of obstacles did they have? What kind of films they made? And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Because what is the point of explaining something that you never saw? You know, if I would say, oh, look, but this film was absolutely amazing. So what? What does it tell to you if you didn't see that film? So instead of that, I was really trying to look for the universal aspect of this. I'm trying to see the beauty in their work. And beauty is beauty, and beauty is the universal language in all cultures. Something beautiful, something touches us, and we are blown away, we are mesmerized by beauty, and we don't need words. The cinema language is strong enough to convey, to tell the message, to tell the story, to show, to touch hearts of thousands, I don't know, hundreds, or maybe one person, just without information, just with the language of cinema. And why I'm saying this, because the word, and sometimes, and in many cases, I'm not against the word, sometimes the word is very important in the documentary cinema, but sometimes I think, if you can tell this in words, so why don't you tell? If you have some kind of message, just tell, or write an article, or explain, or be a lecturer and tell. But what I know, what I experience during my creative life, there are things that are impossible to tell in words. And probably, I strongly believe that the documentary film you should make a documentary film only then you have no other means how to tell this. Again, I repeat myself, but if you have different means to tell this, just tell. Why spend time? Once spend your efforts. It's documentary is a heavy business, and it takes a lot of your energy, or your health, your mental health, everything. So, but sometimes you feel, no, I can. It's impossible. It's impossible to tell this in words. So I need to take a camera and tell the story. I should have said this at the very beginning. If you have questions, please, please raise your hands and ask me, and I would be really glad to answer, and I will know what direction should I go. So don't hesitate, don't be shy to ask me things, because it's much more nice than there is a conversation. But so to continue this, the power of the image. I was making my previous film before my last film. It was called Woman in Glacier. And we are going, in a few minutes, we are going to watch a little excerpt of this film, which is number 11. It's called Moteris ir Ledinas in Lithuanian, but not now. Just a short introduction. We are going to see like maybe 4 or 3 minutes of that film. This is a film about a woman who lives up in the mountains for 30 years alone on the glacier, on 3,500 meters, on one of the biggest glaciers in Tian Shan, Tuyuksu Glacier, totally alone, without any connection with the outer world. She doesn't have no mobile, no radio, no satellite, no nothing. Just totally alone, and she's a glaciologist, and she's investigating ice in a really, really very terrible conditions. It's really low temperatures. The nature is totally crazy, because during the summer you can have winter, spring, summer. It could be sunny, and suddenly, like in 20 minutes, it's a snowstorm out of nowhere, or it's the cloud comes in, and then it's just you cannot see nothing. You're just in this white mist. So how can I tell this for the audience? I can, what I told you now, it's nothing, because what you got, this is just the piece of information. Oh, that's a very hard conditions. There is a snow, there is a, but no emotional touch to those words. They, in reality, they don't say, they just say nothing. You have to be there to feel this, or you have to film this. And then this is what I'm trying to say, that maybe the cinema, with the means of the film language and editing and sound, can have this ability somehow to reflect, somehow to make you feel what she feels in being there totally alone in this very, very strange and very harsh world. Now we are going to see a little clip of that film. I filmed this during the summer. That's July. And then the storm came. I had a very, very good cameraman. I worked with him for 13 years. A few years ago, he tragically died, being like at the age of 44. That was a huge loss for me. But you're going to see the sensitivity of the camera. The normal DOP, we switch off the camera, because it's a snowstorm. Suddenly the image becomes blurry. You don't see nothing, and so why wasting the tape for this? And what my cameraman Audrius, what he did, he kept running, and then you're going to see this is then the landscape, the screen becomes white, totally white. You see the figure of my main character, and she moves in on the screen, and then there is a moment, then she becomes invisible. Suddenly you don't see her; she just white. But what our eye do, and I saw this film for many times, I do this all the time the same. I follow the invisible figure. Somehow I visualize myself, her, in that terrible snowstorm. And yes, at the end of the screen, I see her in her figure, her silhouette in this. Somehow this white on white, this is something that you only can experience with the means of cinema. It's you cannot tell this in any words. But okay, enough words. And number 11, Woman on the Glacier. Maybe you have questions, because I don't want to be the monologue. If okay, yeah, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, hello. So as you said that whenever you're trying to capture a documentary, there are very normal things that are happening there. But the visual medium and the audiovisual medium can help you see the emotional side of it as well. But I'm sure that every sort of documentary or every story that you're trying to tell has its own sort of a meaning, its own sort of a theme to it, and it requires a certain sense of like a very certain direction in which you have to go in order to capture it correctly. So how do you go about that process?
Yeah, that's thank you for the question. It's a quite big question. It's a wide question. How you reach where you go. This is very, because I'm also teaching, and sometimes my students they are complaining and they're saying, how can I have like script before I make a film? So usually what I tell, and if you don't have a script, if you don't have, they say, oh, this is reality. How can we script the reality? We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow or day after tomorrow or just in 1 hour. So how this could be written? I will go and see what is going to happen. But this doesn't work because if you go there without any direction, trusting that, okay, I'll see something and I will film something, then you will be crushed by 1 million possibilities. Then you don't know where should I put camera, over there or maybe over there. What kind of lens should I use? What should I film? What should I not film? So in reality, you have to have very clear plan before you start filming. You need to have a very clear action plan or script. You imagine your film before you start making your film. But the second thing is also very important, that you don't follow your script. You let the script change by, maybe you need the script for your first shot, for very beginning, and then you listen for your material, and then you see where it goes. And usually, and this is the reason why I am not in a fiction film, but in the documentary. Of course, the fiction is brighter spotlight, all the glamour, red carpets, rich festivals, and all the public attention. But this is what is most precious in a documentary film, that reality is so much more interesting than something I can imagine. Maybe there are people whose imagination is more interesting than reality. I don't know. It's not me. I always surprised. I was always, let's say, okay, like a small example. I was making a film. I was asked by my friend to make a film about a wrestler, Georgian wrestler, and I thought, okay, I had the script. I decided, okay, I'm going to make a film about, he's 75 years old, this is Georgian wrestling, but he's very fit. And I'm going to make this kind of, it's going to be, and I knew that it's going to be the competition of veterans, where they fight in the ring. And I'm going to film. I thought, this is it's interesting concept, it's interesting story. The 75 years wrestler going to his last fight. And I started to wait, and I waited and waited, and but they couldn't find the competitor. It's not so easy to find somebody 75 years old to go and fight in the ring. So we waiting and waiting, 1 month, 2 months, and nothing. And then by waiting, I just asked. His name was Ramin. I asked. Ramin said, "What?" I was surprised. He's 75 years old man, lives totally alone. Never had wife. And I said, what's wrong with you? Why you don't have a wife? You don't have a girlfriend? Nobody in your life? Why you are so alone in this world? I said, did you have at certain moment a girlfriend, at least? And he thought and said, yeah, you're right. He said, yeah, 50 years ago I had a girlfriend, and I even kept her dress. And he found among his papers this shabby piece of paper with the name of the girl, Sveta Turmanidze, and the name of the village of the other side of Georgia. That's that actually going in Georgia. And I said, Ramin, so if you have address, you have a name and address, so let's visit your girlfriend. He said, no, I'm poor, I don't have money for the ticket. So, okay, I buy you a ticket. Just let's go and see how she lives. And we went to the train and we traveled to other part of Georgia and looking for Sveta Turmanidze. And that's a film. At the end, it doesn't matter. This competition, it's so. And then at the end, it's a love story without happy end, because I'm spoiling your film. But what can I do? He never found this girl. But I thought this is so much more interesting than something that I invented in my head. But I didn't go, okay, this is Ramin, okay, let's do whatever he does. No, I had a very clear plan, but then I changed my plan, and then I have another plan, and another plan, and while by making this, you have to be like water. Very, very flexible. You have to follow. You see where it goes, what it suggests you. This is otherwise your film is stiff. Of course, I could how to say, hire some wrestler, make this competition, be very, follow my own plan, and what I think this would be a bad film. And now I just follow the reality, and I think this is much better than my imagination created. The same with the woman on the glacier. My first plan, the way how I pitched this film, I said I want to make a film about the strong, eternal, strong glacier and the fragile, mortal woman, weak. And then while I was making this film, suddenly I realized that I was totally wrong. The strong character in this film is a woman. She's a strong character. She survives this kind of really hard conditions. And the glacier is a weak character, because the glacier is melting, the glacier is crumbling apart, the glacier is affected by global warming, and it might disappear. She might live longer than the glacier because it's melting so fast. So again, this was the moment. Then I just follow. Then I didn't follow my own script. I just saw what reality is suggesting me, and I think that was the right choice. Another thing, with this woman on the glacier, what I wanted to do. Of course, I thought, okay, I'm going there. She's living alone for 30 years. I'm very curious how she lives, how she survives, what she thinks, what she does, how she sees the world, there's so many questions. So I decided that I'm going to talk with her. And it was for me a huge shock. Then she said, I'm not going to talk with you at all. Don't go closer to me. She's living for 30 years alone, and what do I expect? That she say, oh, okay, let's make an interview, let's talk. No, she said, I'm living here alone, I want to be alone, leave me alone. If you want, shoot, but don't go closer to me. And I thought, how? I'm done, it's a disaster. How can I make a film without a single word in that film? She's not explaining. So I was actually in panic, because I thought I shot, and then I went to my editor and I said, I think it's a disaster, because I have mountains, and the woman going turn back. Where is the film? How can you make a film out of this footage? But my editor, he acted like a psychotherapist. He said, look, but you have this close-up. Look, and this is nice. And look how it goes with this. And you have this, and you have this archival footage shot like 50 or 60 years ago. And look, and you have the story, and you see how the time is passing by. And I started, okay, maybe, and the confidence came back to me. And after, retrospectively, then I thought, than how I see now. Imagine if I would make, she would agree to make this interview. That would be a disaster. That would not be a film about the woman who lives totally alone in the mountains. It would be a film about some Lithuanian documentary filmmaker who is coming there and making interviews. It's not her reality. Her reality is days and nights of silence, and weeks and months and years of silence. And maybe this is the way. Is it scary? Very much. It is scary, because then you think, my God, I'm not going to know. It's going to be disaster. It's going to be disaster. But this is a part of documentary filmmaking. And I know for 100%, those of you who made films, documentary films, you experience that fear. My God, it will be a total flop. I will not, no, I'm not going to edit this film. It will be some disaster. So if you overcome this fear, if you still believe, and if you still believe that, okay, it doesn't matter, I find the ways, there is a path there, but it's a jump into abyss, and you don't know how you are going to land. And then you just believe in providence, in yourself, in reality, in I don't know. You don't lose the hope, and then you, and of course, because yes, there is nothing safe in the documentary filmmaking. Now I'm making film in South Korea. Believe me. I watched the footage, which is beautiful, it's brilliant, it's very nicely shot, but I think, my God, I'm not going to make this film. How? There's different religions, different shots, I don't see how they come together. They're not going together. And yes, I think at the end, I will find a way out of this dark forest, and I will somehow find the composition, find the way, but this is the companion that follows you all the time. The fear that you will fail, that fear that it will be. So, my teacher, he taught us about this kind of this. That one day you think, oh, this would be a great film, and the second day you think, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. And next day you think, okay, still it's going to be a great film. No, it will go. So this goes till the very end until you reach your final port, final destination of your film. Are we going to see, maybe because the time is running very fast? Maybe I'm going to show you one more clip, because I mentioned Ramin, my wrestler. So I don't remember which one. We have two Ramin, 2.5, but maybe let's try to Ramin, only Raminas without 2.0.11, the second clip.
Na 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 tai dine patarao na 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 na.
So you see this scene again. This is one moment which is unexpected in this moment. You see the totally drunk guy at the end of the table. In the Georgian tradition, This at the table where we have this feast has to be one person. It's kind of table chairman, I don't know how you call it, the one who follows that nobody gets drunk. That's his duty. Nobody gets drunk. If somebody speaks, he shuts the others. You know, it has to be an order somehow, and respectful order. But the problem is that this guy is so popular. He's invited in so many joints like this. It was maybe too many of these, so he got totally drunk at the end and the only one who got totally drunk. And then I showed this film. I took this film to Georgia, and I showed this film in Georgia. He came to me and said, "Look, if you're going to show this film in Georgia like this, my reputation as Tamada will be ruined forever." Nobody believed me. Nobody will give me that kind of honorable position. So he said, "You have two choices. Either you cut out this scene from the film, or you explain before the film, you explain to everybody that you asked me to play that I am drunk." So as I have no opportunity to travel with the film and show, and so I cut this scene out. And in Georgia, this film was without that scene where he's drunk. But again, there are things. Okay, I can tell you a story about the wrestler. I can tell you a story about. Even I told you a story about the Sveta Turmanidze, the lover, the girlfriend of this guy 50 years ago. But how can you tell those things like loneliness or longing for some warmth or love? What are the words? How can you do this? Poetry, yes, but that's a different genre, like written poetry, yeah, or songs. Of course, this is the perfect means to speak about those films. But can you speak in cinema? Because if you put a poem there or the song, so why the cinema? Why then it's better to sing or read this poem. What is can cinema, can film language do this the same as the poem does, or this beautiful song does? And for me, the scene with the cat, little kitty, and the chicken, it tells very much all. I'm not showing Ramin at that moment. He just went to sleep. But this kind of the reflection of his life. He's longing for love. He's totally lonely. He's longing for love, some warmth. He wants some friendship, some good word, something. And life keeps hitting him hardly. He lives in the poverty. He lonely, the water dripping from the ceiling. And this scene, and then chicken bites, knocks the kitten. For me, it's this is a reflection. It tells without telling. So again, this telling. How can you tell without telling, without using words? This aspect of documentary cinema for me was very, very crucial from the day I started making films. Because when I started making films, I thought, okay, is the documentary cinema strong enough? Or does it need some kind of support from literature, from music, from, I don't know, anything? Or can it be on its own? Can the cinema be on its own and still carry the message? And then, or can it, one of my, and because we still have a few minutes, so I just, one of the questions that I ask myself, can the cinema affect you the same as music affects you? For me, that was I listen the pieces of music. The Nandan sings these beautiful songs. I don't understand the words, not a single word. What he sings, and I think I understand. It gets in a deeper level than just the words. I think that I understand that it's about the longing, about love, about these feelings somehow. So I thought, can you do this with the same with the cinema? And just to because our time is running out, so for the end, I would like to show you a little piece from the film, which was called Anti-Gravitation. That was one of my first films, not the very first, maybe second film, where I thought, can I make the film with the structure of the music, that it would not have like this kind of the dramatic structure borrowed from Greek tragedy or Greek drama, with the culmination, the character, the protagonist, antagonist, all these kind of arcs. Can I make this flow as a music? So this is a little piece from the film, which is called Anti-Gravitation. Oops, you found it, okay. Okay, so thank you so much for being with me this hour. Of course, 1 hour is very, very little to tell something. Or I just touched the very few aspects of cinema. There are so many of interesting. The documentary cinema is just a separate world where you can discover things and miracles and magics. So, but I hope it will be next time we're going to meet in one or another platform, one or another film festival, and I will be looking forward for that. So thank you very much to everybody.
We express our profound thanks to Mr. Audrius Stonys for his inspiring contribution to today's masterclass session. I'm sure that all of us present here today are truly mesmerized from your words. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a warm applause for Sir once again?